So, I gotta mute Skype. I just saw Cabin in the Woods, and I swear to God, I went in with this completely open-minded. I really did. And I was like, I'm gonna, like this movie, I think. There's some people that have not liked it. For the most part, people really like this movie. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna go in, and, at the beginning, I was really enjoying it, and then throughout the middle, I was, kind of enjoying it, and then the third act, I really got into it. And, I was never upset during the movie, really. I was never happy, but I was, and I've been happy watching horror movies. I've been enthralled watching horror movies, and I'm not a horror fan, really. I'm not. It's a weird thing where there's certain horror that does make me happy, and it's usually the sillier the better. I can't take it seriously. I don't want to try to take it seriously. With some exceptions like the Cronenberg, stuff. I love Cronenberg, but I almost put that in a different category. But for the slasher horror, I need to be able to not take it seriously. My point is, okay, so Cabin in the Woods. I'm getting way away from the point. This is why I had to make a vlog. I can't organize my thoughts. Why are you trying to leave? Why are you trying to leave? You can leave if you want to. Okay. I gotta focus my thoughts here. So, my point is, I enjoyed the movie. I suggest people see it because it's enjoyable. Don't know anything you cannot know anything about this going in because the entire movie is the idea. This is a gimmick film. It is a concept gimmick film. The execution, fucking Christ. The execution, however, you will not. No, if you are a person that likes film, as an art form, even in horror movies, because it can be an art film there's an art to scaring the shit out of people, or making them laugh at other people's pain, which is part of what this movie is, I guess, trying to comment on. So I'm not going to spoil any plot points in this. I'm going to be speaking in broad strokes, which is how I tend to review anyway, isn't it? I tend to talk in really broad strokes, which bores some people. But anyway. But I just don't know how else to talk about stuff. I like to get to the, guts of things instead of surface elements or scenes or characters or whatever. Which is good, because I'm talking about this. Anyway, I enjoyed the movie. It made me, after I left, about, 5 minutes, no, during the last 5 minutes of the movie, and then everything after I left, I wanted to get out of that theater as soon as it ended, just because the last 5 minutes and kind of how I started to feel in those last 5 minutes. I wanted to get out of the theater, and the more I thought about the movie, the more pissed off I got. But I don't regret seeing it. It wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a good movie, but it wasn't a bad movie. It just... Fuck. I'm gonna say it. Here it comes. I'm gonna say it. God damn you, Joss Whedon! This movie smells so much like all the things I don't like about Whedon, which is... People know how much I hate on this guy, and I don't hate on him because he's bad. He's not like Uwe Boll to me or something. I hate him because he's mediocre, and he's gleefully mediocre. He's not just he's not very talented, but we can forget him. He's in your face about how completely fucking sophomoric he is. And that's this movie. You have a fun, I won't ruin it, but the whole thing is the concept. It is a gimmick film. The whole thing is the gimmick. And that's it. It is the most underachieving motherfucking thing. It's trying to be meta. Here's how I define meta. Meta is when you take a genre and you take an idea and you put it in the context of the real world and how real world people react to it. And it's either about the reactions of real world people or it's about the genre itself in the real world and how well it gels against it. And it's hard to do successfully because it can be a gimmick, and it can outdate itself really fast, and, what it isn't, what this film is, its approach to meta, is taking another fictional view of the world. That's what this is. This is another, extremely cookie-cutter view of the world, and using it to make fun of cookie-cutter stereotypes which I guess you'd have to, because, if you made a horror movie about, there are cliches in horror movies, I think that was Spoonie's problem with this. If you made a movie about that, yeah, you'd be, 20, 30 years too late. No, not 30, that's exaggerating. You'd be 20 years too late, though. You'd be really late to the fucking party there. But that's not what this is. This is a like, comical, over-the-top. It's sort of a parody of other things about our world that is totally unrealistic, that is parodying the horror movie thing, and it just comes across as the most goddamn insincere thing you've ever seen. And it would really work. Here's the thing. It's enjoyable while you're watching it, and here's the reason you can only watch it once. It's a TV episode. This is a clever, like, little TV episode of a Twilight Zone-y thing. And the reason I just tweeted about this, I said, well, that was a good episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because it's not an episode of the Twilight Zone, because you can rewatch episodes of the Twilight Zone, and even as old as they are, there's some depth to them, there's some strength of performance, there's stuff that holds up in the actors, stuff that holds up, and this was Are You Afraid of the Dark? It was, aren't we clever? And the actual presentation is fucking like, this is clever, watch it once, and then you're never gonna get anything out of it again if you apply any thought or try to compare it to the real world, or just, it's sort of like fun to watch, I guess, but it is, and here's why it bothers me. I'm okay with fun stupid. Like I said, the horror movies I enjoy are sort of the Raimi-esque, the slasher stuff that I enjoy is sort of the Raimi-esque, like, we take ourselves not one fuck seriously, but we want to have fun, and we want you to have fun with it. And they take it seriously insofar as production, but they're self-aware. This is Whedon's version of self-aware, which means he thinks he's so much more clever than he actually is. And he's okay with, he thinks he's accomplishing something great when he's accomplishing something like, good for you, like, so, that was a really nice little idea you came up with and executed, like, completely how you'd expect that to be done, with no, like, there's no excelling here, not doing anything really wrong, but, it was just so gleefully fucking mediocre. I mean, we got this great idea, and then, and here it is, and here's the thing, here's the two things about it that did bug me. It is insincere. If you're gonna do this thing, do it sincerely. Like, again, coming back to Spoonie's thing about Scream was better, and I don't even like Scream. It's my best Spoonie impression. Scream was better, and I don't even like Scream. I haven't seen Scream in years, so my memory a little bit, and, like, I wasn't crazy about it, but here's the thing about Scream. It's fucking sincere. Like, it's making fun of stuff, and it's being all parody and patronizing toward horror movie tropes, but its own world that it creates is sincere. The world of Cabin in the Woods, like, you can hear the characters, I'm going to use huge quotes for characters, winking and nodding at you the whole time. And it's really annoying. It's obnoxious. It doesn't feel like a real world, even if it's sort of a goofy world that's been created, that's talking to you about horror movie cliches. It feels like another cliche that's trying to talk to you about cliches and trying to say something in the last 5 minutes. Like, it is trying to be, like, not just smart, but kind of deep in the last fucking fuck. I don't even know why this one, it wasn't a bad movie. Like, if it was really a piece of shit, maybe I could get angry, but it's not, and that's what makes me angry. It was like a really nice concept that was just done like, we can't really be serious, we can't, like, really invest in this, we're just gonna do this in sort of a hokey dokey, we're aware of how, like, edgy and whatever we are. It was Whedon-y. I mean, it was Whedon-y, and, like, it wasn't written by him, it wasn't entirely written by him, it was directed by someone else. There are lots of other people that put effort into making a film. It's never a one-man show, but there are some things, like Lucas, even when he hasn't, like, directed something, you just sort of smell him on the stuff he touches. He has a very distinctive touch, and it was just all over this movie. So even though I didn't want to blame it on Whedon, it's him. That's what this movie smells like. And anyway, so my point is, go watch this movie once, and maybe you'll enjoy it much more than me, because I am well aware this is a personal tick of mine. But it's entirely possible you'll enjoy this a fuck ton more than I did. But it just bugged me. Like, I was happy with it until it ended, and then I was like, oh, fuck. Like, just, I want to be impressed by something, you know? And this was like, it wasn't impressive. There was nothing about this that was impressive. It was, like, clever and then just done, like, there's some scenes that could be totally thrown out of the movie, and they were in there because Whedon had a funny thing that he wanted to do for a short time, you know, it's one of those. And there's lots of that in his stuff. It just rang in my brain like, oh yeah, like it doesn't all fit together. It doesn't feel like, it's not meta commentary. It's not funny. Like, it's not really a comedy. So it's enjoyable. It's not really funny. It's certainly not dramatic, and that'd be fine, but it seems to think it is at points. It's very TV-ish, the way it's presented and the way it feels. It doesn't feel like a film. It feels like a TV episode of something. And my last thing, the one thing that always bugs me about his stuff is the characters all sound like him. And that's kind of okay, I guess, in this, because again, it's not a real world. It's not. That's half the joke, is that everybody's a cliche. But part of the point of the story is that it is real-world commentative on horror movie tropes. Except it's not. It's another world that doesn't actually have real humans in it. But yeah, I mean, like, if the sincerity of the characters in Scream, when you meet, like, the killers at the end and whatever, and the reveal, they're like, you kind of believe in those characters. They're not real people, but they're real people in the context of that world that's been created. You know, there is a sincerity to the parody going on there. This is like, they don't even really believe in what they're doing. They're just, it felt like something somebody wrote when they got high, and then they're like, oh, we have to make the movie now? Okay, well, I don't feel the same way as when I felt when I got the idea, but we'll do it. That's what it felt like. So I've gone on for almost 12 minutes, and that's how I can explain this movie without spoiling anything. Go watch it. I mean, it's not a bad movie, but there are things about it that are sort of like my biggest pet peeves, you know. And they're in there, and it's just it made me angry. I never want to see it again. I'm glad I watched it, but I know it won't hold up to rewatches because I rewatched it in my brain as I was leaving, you know, thinking about things that happened, and it just... It's such an underachieving... It's underachieving and thinks it deserves a higher... We want to think if it's just underachieving and it's like, yeah, I know I'm a fucking underachiever. It's underachieving and it thinks it deserves a much higher grade than it actually does, too. Like, it thinks it's a really good movie. I'm sorry, I know it's hard to, you know, like, how can you say that? I don't know, but I do know I have a tendency to be good at gauging this sort of thing, and that's what it just feels like. It thinks it's so damn smart, and just, fuck. And also, you know, I know a little bit about the director, and I bet he does think, okay. Not director. He didn't even direct it, but it's in there. It's, you know, it's him. I mean, I don't know much about this other guy that was part of it. But he worked on a lot of stuff with Whedon, like he's equal parts with him, and I don't remember much about Cloverfield. You know, like, this is better than Cloverfield, I guess. I can't even say that. I just don't remember Cloverfield. You know, it's like, when did that happen? I guess it happened. But, okay, so that's enough of that. Now it's almost 14 minutes. So, yes, I couldn't. It's a perfectly good... It is the movie that was designed to piss me off. Just, you know, whatever tendencies. Maybe I'll have to dig deep and figure out exactly what it is that bugs me about this sort of thing. But yeah, not even close to a bad movie. If I was giving a star rating, which I do for stuff, I guess it'd be a 2.5. It's a rental. It's, you know, good fun time for all. But there are things about it that just make me angry. And yes, that's it. I'm done. No more. We're done. Okay.